Good day everyone, I am Al-merah and I am going to discuss about the exploitation of animals and plants and what are those impacts of overexploitation of animals and plants. Well, actually it can threaten ecosystem functions. Beyond endangering species through population loss, overexploitation of wildlife can cause long-term ecological problems such as creating sex ratio imbalances and slowing the reproduction of rate vulnerable species. Human that has a great desire to possess exotic animals and plants in their products have been enabled by modern transportation, communication, and economic technologies. However, each pieces that each piece's loss has impacted its ecosystem in a negative way. Actually, commonly those exotic animals are the monkeys, cat, birds such as parrots and other pets. So, in an activity known as direct harvesting, humans have removed plants from the ecosystem for the economic value without regard for the effect of its removal on the natural ecosystem. The removal has negatively impacted the ecosystem by decreasing biodiversity, or what we call the variety of life in these habitats. That is why we must be very careful on over exploiting, because somehow it can affect our environment, and the environment cannot protect us because we are not protecting the environment as well. That is why we must be very careful on decreasing, on mining, on exploiting animals and plants, because even they are exotic animals, they are still needed, they are still helpful to the environment, to our ecosystem, and it can lead us to have a long life. That is why we should be careful on what we are doing on the way of decreasing plants and animals. Now we have the signs of environmental contamination. Many warning signs exist indicate that a dangerous disequilibrium is being created in our ecosystem. Some researchers suspect the toxic chemicals byproducts of the heavy metals, pesticides, hormones, pharmaceuticals, and other contaminants are responsible for increased frequency in the formation of illness. Some of the other examples include the reproductive cycle disruption in birds as a result of high concentrations of DDT and other pesticide, death and disorientation of marine mammals, possibly due to coastal pollutant runoff, contaminated water. So, yeah, in our own species, adverse health effects linked to chemical exposure are increasingly prevalent among infancy and early childhood. So commonly, those are affected is the victims of contaminants from the food and water is the children. That is why we should guide the children. We should be careful on them, on the food that they are eating, on the drinks that they are drinking, because somehow those foods that is tasted good are really bad on the health of the children, on the health of the body, on the health of our body. Some other foods with has a good taste does mean is doesn't mean it was really good in our body, because somehow the water or the food is contaminated by what we call virus. That is why we must be very careful, because somehow those noodles, those preservative foods has contaminated pesticides that is harmful in our body. Now let's proceed to the consumption of energy. Worldwide, industrialization has brought an increased demand for use of energy resources. It brought both positive and negative effects on humans and ecosystem. For some time, the source of energy has changed, with additional water, wood, coal, and oil gradually being replaced with natural gas, wind, wave, nuclear, solar, geothermal, and fuel cell technology. The development of these energy sources often uses valuable agricultural land for construction, storage, cannot run a vehicle without the gas. Of course, we have the gas that is product or the consumption of energy that we cannot run it if without the energy but the gas. And yeah, it's consumption of energy. Now let's proceed to fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are commonly used as an energy source in industrial process for the past 20 years. This includes the natural occurring materials such as oil, which commonly used in cooking. Acid precipitation results from combining sulfur and natural oxide is also one of the fossil fuels product. So, acid base fall on aquatic ecosystem, they can significantly alter in chemistry. So any alteration often leads to elimination of acid base sensitive species of fish and amphibians in the ecosystem. The burning of fossil fuels has also been linked to phenomena known as global warming. That is why we must also be careful on using gas, using oil and coal, because it might be necessary for us to use it, but then we should use it moderately. We should not overuse it. We should not take advantage of it, because if we took advantage of it, if we overuse it, the bad effects can also affect us. That is why we should use those advantages of fossil fuels moderately, based on what is really necessary, not just necessary. So I hope you learned something from me. Thank you so much and have a good day.